So let's start off with the real stuff here. Who is John outside of the coaching, man?
Who am I outside of coaching? I'm a father. I have two little kids, 5.5 months old and 2 years old, a boy and a girl, Lincoln and Charlotte. I'm a business owner, entrepreneur. I've been in the business world, entrepreneurship, over 14 years now, actually. That's actually I have never had a corporate real job in my entire life.
Good.
Yeah,
That,
I
that,
I graduated university and I literally finished my convocation in May and I had my first business open in June, at the
oh,
end of
cool.
June. Yeah. Yeah, I was very gung ho and I didn't know what I didn't know. And turns out there was a lot I didn't know. And yeah, my business partner and I, we just jumped headfirst into starting our first fitness business back in would have been 2011.
Okay.
And yeah, I had to learn everything on the fly and figure out how to make it successful. And here we are today. That business still exists. I'm currently sitting in one of the rooms of that business, a testament to my, I guess, figuring it out and learning on the fly.
We all have to.
And yeah, so that's my professional world. I still currently own a wellness physiotherapy chiropractic clinic. And at one point, I also had another gym that we were running in another city, which we closed down during COVID due to leasing issues. But yeah, so that's my fitness business professional life outside of the coaching with Fit Executive Co. And then personally, I've always been an athlete. I've always loved to play sports, hockey, lacrosse, rugby, track and field, cross country, all
Nice.
those kinds of things. Yeah.
Oh,
So I really grew up doing all those kind of things. I wasn't really particularly great at any of those. I was good at them, but great at none of them.
uh-huh.
And that's probably why fitness was really a thing for me.
Uh,
Most people use fitness to get better at sports. I stopped playing sports so I could get better at building muscle. When I was younger, I've competed in powerlifting, in weightlifting, I've done CrossFit competitions and things like that. And more recently, I've been into kind of like endurance training, so half
Nice.
marathons and things like that. Yeah,
Hey.
which is quite different from strength training, though I do maintain a regular amount of strength training, trying to find that good balance between the two. Yeah, and then I like to go to the cottage, get out on the water, go out on the boat, go hiking, go off-roading, things like that.
Amazing.
That's kind of me in a nutshell.
Oh, cool. Awesome. All
Yeah.
right. And how did you get into coaching high performers?
Coaching high performance, interestingly enough, I always thought I wanted to coach athletes.
Uh-huh.
Turns out athletes are terrible clients. And I'll tell you why. Athletes are terrible clients because for the most part, they don't want to do the training, especially the talented ones. Talented athletes are never good at working out in the gym because they've always just been really good at their sport, right? And they are also generally gone for most of the year. Unless you work, let's say, as a strength and conditioning coach at an NCAA school or a university or something like that, you're only seeing those athletes for a few months in their off season, and that's really not a sustainable business model in my opinion. So training high performers found me because that's one of the ways that I ended up making my business
Mhm.
successful was finding clients who are going to be around for the long term. Turns out people who are going to be around for the long term have a reasonable degree of flexibility in their schedule. They
Mhm.
generally tend to be older in age and more established. They have families, they have an established career. Obviously, because things like this aren't free and it requires a significant amount of investment. And again, you're not finding a 19-year-old, unless their parents have a lot of money, who's going to invest into something like their long-term health and fitness. And so that's how I got into training high performers, and I never really left. That's
Yeah.
where I've been this whole time, right? That's everyone that I've basically worked with, except for at the very beginning of my career when I thought, like I said, I wanted to
Yeah.
train pro and semi-pro athletes.
And yeah, what I like about the most about our clients is the mindset. They take full on responsibility, they execute, they walk through walls to achieve their goals. This is what they do in business, this is what they do for our project, for our mission, the 2.0 version of themselves, and then unfolding that. And okay, but let's talk about credibility here. Certifications. Give me the rundown. Like university, beyond that, what do we have to work with here?
The first thing I would say is my first credibility in my personal opinion, maybe this matters, maybe this doesn't, is that I've been in the fitness industry and working with clients individually, one-on-one and in a group setting since I was 21. I
Yeah.
am 37, so that's 16 years. I did my undergraduate degree at the University of Western Ontario with a specialization in kinesiology. Yeah, I worked as a strength and conditioning coach for the lacrosse team there. I worked as a personal trainer while I was there. I won Personal Trainer of the Year my last year.
That's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
and
Congrats.
yeah, thanks. So that was the start of it, and then after that, I came out. I had my personal trainer from Good Life. What I can't remember what that's called. I let that go a long time ago. PTS, I think it is. But then I did the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist certification, which you have to have a university degree to do. And then you
I
basically just, yeah.
Fun fact, I tried to do that and then they like, no, you're not
So
educated
there's a
enough.
lot of, yeah, there's a lot
Awesome.
of science in it, right? There's a lot of which honestly, if you've done an undergraduate degree in kinesiology, it's all basic exercise physiology and things like that. So personally, I didn't find it particularly hard because it was already all the stuff that I had been doing for the last 5 years while I was there. And then after that, coming out, I had already done also my CrossFit level 1, which is probably not that important for most people here. But when I had a CrossFit affiliate, which we did for a while, that was something that was important. And then I've always been interested in nutrition and the science of nutrition. I actually, when I was doing my undergraduate degree, John Berardi, who's the founder of Precision Nutrition, he used to come to our school and do a symposium, a nutrition symposium. So I would go every year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I started with precision nutrition
Like
and getting in there. It's like, hmm?
he's a godfather of nutrition,
Yeah,
like
hmm,
education, right? So
yeah.
everybody in around the world basically looks up to this guy because he did so much for the community. And yeah, awesome. I didn't know that you had that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so he came to our school a bunch of times, and so I would go every year and listen to him. I think he did his PhD at Western with one of the doctors that I used to do exercise nutrition with
Okay.
during my
Okay.
undergrad. Yeah. And he just, what I really like about what he does is the science base of it. The internet is ripe with fads and I don't, garbage, I guess, is probably the most useful term I could think of for it in terms of the stuff that they promote, quick fixes, fads, and everything else, right? And precision nutrition and just science-based nutrition approach in general is really about using and understanding how to use math and science and how to use that to manipulate your body to get the result that you want. And the crazy thing is that everyone thinks that there's like such a big difference between, let's say, gaining weight and losing weight. And the reality is that aside from, let's say, habits and things like that, that you need to take time to build, the science is the same, right?
Yeah.
There's 4 calories in a gram of protein, whether you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, and there's 9 calories in a gram of fat, and there's 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrates,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So those are all the same. Those don't change whatever your goals are, right? Just the quantities and the ratios of what you might choose to eat might are going to be different. Just depends on your goals, right? And that's when I've worked with nutrition and coaching people. I usually do once a year or have done in the past, like a macros challenge with some of the people at the gym. And this is what I try and teach people is that it's if you can understand the science and the basics of it, it's actually very easy to manipulate once you get it,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and knowledge is power, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Okay.
So that's my nutrition take. And then I don't know if you're particularly familiar with the like the FRC, functional range conditioning. So
No, no.
that's like a whole mobility specialization that I started with. And again, I've been doing this for so long, sometimes things just happen by accident. And the guy who started the FRC certifications back when we were at our old location, he was the owner of the clinic that was subletting our clinic space from us.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so I ended up I had a professional relationship with him, and then I ended up doing his seminar, and so I did his functional range conditioning mobility specialization. and also his assessment specialization. So it's learning how to assess people's movement and then how to use movement to fix and or improve ranges of motion and help, again, I guess help, what's the word I'm looking for? Strengthen your body in a way that doesn't just deteriorate the quality of your joints and things like that. And again, I think you see a lot of that, especially with, people see a lot of this with people who used to be athletes in their heyday, and
Yeah.
then they become a professional, they become a lawyer, or they get into finance or something like that, and they stop competing, and then they come back to fitness, and that athlete mindset never goes away. But the
Mhm.
problem is they've ingrained, let's say, 15, 20 years of bad habits in terms of their posture and other things like that. And so how they move now is actually hindering their ability to progress. And so I found, and again, especially working one-on-one with people in person, that I had to find a way to help people get better at moving.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
wasn't just, okay, you should do a 60-minute yoga class,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right? Because again, when you're working with professionals, like everyone's got, there's a limit, there's a finite amount of time. And I can't, like, people don't want to go to the yoga studio for an hour and then they come to the gym for another hour and do this and do that. I had to figure out how to like get it all done in those 45 to 60 minutes that we had
Mhm.
with people. And so that's where I started with
Cool.
all that, and really helping people with injuries, helping people with shoulder problems, back problems, knee problems, things like that, and
Cool.
how to move yourself. There's an interesting term is that if you moved yourself into pain, you can move yourself out of pain. So
Okay.
that's my take on that.
Awesome, man. I can't wait for you to have our clients because we have so many clients with back problems, shoulder problems, knee problems. That's awesome. How many clients do you have, like a ballpark number? Like how many clients you
Okay.
coach?
Do we want group fitness clients included in
No,
that,
let's go
or
only
personal
one-on-one.
training clients?
Only one-on-one.
One-on-one, I would guess somewhere between 150 to 200.
Okay.
The reason I say honestly, it's because what ended up happening to me personally, especially before I had kids and my schedule was like
Mhm.
not wide open anymore, was that you find your people, right?
Yeah.
And if you're good at your job,
Yeah.
they stick around.
Yeah.
So I would end up having, and I still to this day have a couple of them. I don't do tons and tons of one-on-ones anymore just because my schedule doesn't allow it. But I would have people training 2, 3 times a week for 4 years. And
Yeah.
there's only so many 9 o'clock in the mornings time slots I can give away.
Mhm.
So I can't have 200 people to train
Right.
because at any one time, it's really at any one time, you're probably training maybe 15 to 20 if you're
Mhm.
full.
Mhm.
And even that's stretching it, right? Because I was working 6 days a week. I was showing up at the gym. I would
Yeah.
do my own workout at 6 in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I'd work out 6 to 7:30 ish. Then I'd eat breakfast, and then I would go like 9 a.m. client, 10 a.m. client. Then I would drive to the other gym. I would coach a class. Then I would do a client. Then I would coach like the client
Yeah.
class, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the whole day was just, I get home at 9 o'clock at night, and then I would go to sleep, and I wake up at 4:50 in the morning, and I'd do it all over again,
Do it all
right?
over. But
Yeah.
it's good to say most clients stick with you for years. That's like the real quality mark for you, right? This is also what happens with our clients. We almost have everybody sign up for the Forever Fit Masterclass because they like it. They like the experience working with us. They like the service. They like to take out the thinking. They like to see the results. Their wives do too, or their husbands do too. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay. And what's your philosophy when it comes to health, fitness, performance? A couple of sentences.
Health, fitness, performance. Those are all kind of different things.
Yeah,
Performance,
sure.
especially different. I don't know if I'd classify performance as health, but they can be the same. Certainly, in my experience, performance often is not the same as health, just
Mm,
because generally speaking, the things that you need to do to perform at a very high level are often unhealthy and very extreme, right? I personally, when dealing with, let's say, the average not the average person, but the executives, right? The C-suites, the
yeah,
lawyers, the
yeah,
law firm partners, those kinds of people, they need an approach that's fun, that's repeatable, that's
mm,
measurable, and that's sustainable.
mhm,
Because again, if it's not fun, if you wake up every morning and you dread coming to see me, let's say
Mm.
when I was working one-on-one, if you dread coming to see me,
Yeah,
then eventually it's just not going to work out anymore. You're just going to find a reason to quit. And
totally.
that's the same as online training, right? Is it if you're not really having fun, it's not something that's enjoyable for you, then ultimately you'll find all the reasons not to do it, right?
Yeah.
Simplicity also, I found I've done crazy complex programs. I've done my experience with programming is vast and large, right?
Mm.
And I've seen complexity and I always come back to simplicity.
I always say complexity is the enemy of execution. And what I want our guys to do, our people to do, is execute, right? And keep it simple, execute for years and decades, right? Not only for a couple of weeks. And
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Okay, that's definitely aligned with our values. Okay, what else?
Yeah, and then measurable. I think measurable, in my opinion, is very important. You get a lot of this with things like F45, with Orange Theory, with a lot of these group fitness type classes where it's a boot camp, things like that. And
Yeah.
there's the perception of accomplishing something
Uh-huh.
great because you
You
sweat a
break a
lot.
sweat. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
break a
you
sweat.
did
It's
a lot
fucking
of
hard. Yeah.
sweating. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
You did a lot of sweating.
Yeah.
But how do you know you're getting better?
You know, yes,
And then when
exactly.
you ask that question, they don't actually have an answer for you. And I think in some of your videos is that you talk about how the fitness game is a forever game. There's no end to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it's
And
an
so you know what those types of programs are only geared for one thing, and that's to try and promote some type of weight loss, and that's about it. And then beyond that, what else happens? What once you lose the weight, then what?
yeah.
Where do you go after that? And that's why those types of fitness businesses have a consistent revolving door of
Uh,
new
uh,
people, and
uh,
that's how their business works, right? Is because after 6 months or a year of the same Orange Theory classes, what next? What
yeah.
else is there? And so, again, when you think about science and when you think about numbers, and I'm a big on that kind of stuff,
Uh-huh.
strength training and running endurance training, which are, even though they're polarities, they have polarity in terms of being on the opposite ends of the spectrum. They
Mhm.
follow the same training principles, which is basically the principles of progressive overload and
Right.
volume, right?
Exactly.
Which is that over the course of time, if you're tracking how much weight you're lifting, how many repetitions, how
Yeah.
many kilometers you're running, at what paces, and you're progressing that,
Yeah.
it's almost guaranteed that you will see results
Yeah.
because that's just science, man. And it's the same with eating.
Exactly.
If you
Exactly.
figure out how to be in a calorie deficit and you can sustain that for X amount of time, you will lose weight.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it works like that, right?
Yeah, but in order to do that, fun is the magic ingredient, right?
Yeah.
But I also consider looking at numbers and seeing measurable progress to be fun, right? Because what these Orange Theory people often experience is 1 year later, they still look the same or like minimal progress, right? And they don't have anything that keeps them going beyond, yeah, that it's fun. It's fun to be in a community. It's fun to work their ass off, and they have a good feeling about it. But if you don't see the results, that's not fun anymore. That's why
For
the
sure. You
best
need
fun.
results.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that, and this is why I think certainly coaching people more in depth is very important, is because Orange Theory doesn't teach you lifestyle.
The
Okay.
mindset component. Exactly.
They're, and I like to break this down for people. And I say, okay, if you sleep on average, let's say at best 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that leaves you 16 hours for the rest of the day that you're awake. Okay.
Yes.
And if you take 16 and you multiply it by 7, what's that? It's 96 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And out of 96 hours that you're awake, okay, you work out 4 times a week for an hour.
Yeah.
That's 4 hours out of 96, which represents 5% or less
Yeah.
of your life.
Yeah.
Okay. It is not reasonable for you to expect to make significant change by only modifying 4% or 5% of your life, of your waking hours. You need to account and take control of the other 95% of your life. And if
Mhm.
you can't, if you're not going to do that, then the success and the results that you're going to see are going to be very minimal.
Yeah, love it. And you said lifestyle, I said mindset, but then the mindset component is this needs to become a lifestyle. And this is, I always say the transformation happens between the ears and happens because when you look in the mirror and you're not happy with what, then this is a result of your belief system. And out of this belief system, your decisions were made. And out of these decisions became habits, right? It actually goes hand in hand, mindset and lifestyle, because at the end of the day, yes, you do have to allocate some time to it, but you have to learn also a different way of thinking. And yeah, you have to have the belief that it's actually achievable, right? So what transformation or success stories over the years really stuck out with you or to you?
Oh, there's lots, man. Most recently, I was working with a real estate agent and
Uh-huh.
we spent over 400 hours together.
Okay.
He started with me weighing over 250 pounds.
Yeah.
His lowest weight was 190, like four, one
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there. So about 55 pounds of weight loss. And not only that, but just it's not just the ability to lose the 50 pounds, it was the ability to consistently maintain it and keep that weight off and really understand how to eat and he had a problem with binge eating on the weekends. He was an Orthodox Jewish person, so they have a whole Saturday thing off, and they eat a lot of. They have
Yeah.
very specific diet rules, and so
Yeah.
working with him and really trying to figure out how he could eat within the confines and the constraints of his religious beliefs and
Yeah.
his religious conflicts with life, right? Which is on this day this week, I'm not here. I just all those kinds of things that happen. We still managed to figure it out, right? And what obviously it's going to take some trial and error, and you're going to have to figure it out over time and tweak things here and tweak things there. That was really cool to see someone like really lose, like that's a significant amount of weight. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to lose 100 pounds or even 50 pounds. And like you think about, man, when you lose 50 pounds, you are like a completely different person. That's
So
like a lot.
inside and outside.
Put on a 50-pound vest to like
Uh,
really
no.
totally understand what that
I
is
have
like. It's
one
like,
next to me. This is the amount of weight that I've lost. So, and I put it on purpose because and then I move around and it still feels hard, right? It
yeah,
sweats so much easier when I walk around, especially during summertime. And it just, yeah, we gotta get rid of that excess stuff that we carry around. Okay, awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
so that's a significant achievement for him and for you as a coach. Congrats. And now, what are you the most excited about now that you're a part of an executive co?
I'm excited. I really like helping people. I love
Yeah.
to see people get better, to make progress, and to transform themselves. And I find this in general, it's exciting to help people really see how fitness can help make their life outside of the gym and all those things actually better. And now I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to pretend it is that having abs, having a six pack is less common than being a millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the case.
But,
That is the case.
right. But here's the
Having
thing
both.
is, right. So having both is
That's something.
extremely rare, but the amount of what I've found with people, and if you can be successful at one thing, you can be successful at anything. Because that's you take high performers, if you can teach them how to be a high performer outside of what they're already just very good at easily, then it amplifies their life. Because if losing 50 pounds, let's say, just as an example, losing 50 pounds, you're gonna really like you're going to wake up with more energy. You're going to be like have a clearer mind. You're going to be able to focus more. You're going to be able to, your mood is going to be better. These are all parts of your life this is going to benefit all parts of your life. It's not just
Kids
about
are going to
looks,
look at you
right?
differently.
Right.
Your wife or your husband's going to look at you differently. Your team members are going to look at you differently. Your client's going to look at you differently. This is why we chose to work with executives and business owners because it provides us leverage, right? So these people are awesome. And yeah, well, how we change their life has a ripple effect to all of that, to their community, their family, their friends. They inspire people, and this is what I like the most. But no one asked me, I asked you. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, awesome, man. Awesome. So
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, let's take it to the next level here. And
I'm excited, man.
me too. Me too, John. Thank you for joining us. And we have a lot of work in front of us. So
100%.
let's get to work.
Let's do it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Take care, man.